friends. Welcome to the Creative Impact Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Caldwell, and I'm so happy you're here. Each episode, I take some time to chat with fellow artists about life, faith, and the impact of the arts. Well, I'm super pumped to be here today with Lauren Messina. Thank you so much, Lauren, for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Rachel. I'm excited too.
Yeah, it's so fun to get to reconnect with you. So we are currently in the middle of our Belhaven Dance podcast series, and super fun that we are both like Belhaven alum who happen to also cross, I'm saying this really weird, we overlapped during our time there, which is super fun. What year did you graduate? I was trying to remember.
Undergrad, I graduated in 2010, but came in with the class that would have been graduating in 2011, I think.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so 2010, and then, so that also is a great segue into saying that you also got your master's at Belhaven. So I'm excited to get to hear more about that experience and kind of a little of the comparison between, the undergrad and grad school experience. But yeah, so excited to have you, and would love to let you introduce yourself and just share a little bit about what you're up to right now.
Okay, yeah, as Rachel said, I'm Lauren Messina, was Lauren Small during the time I would have been at Belhaven, and I am located now in New Orleans, Louisiana. I've been here about 7 or 8 years, and have gone through phases of dancing with a company here, teaching at studios here, and now I do more independent work and facilitate an online community for dancers too. So most of the stuff I do now is online. I sometimes do residencies at local places here, and I'm currently doing one at the Longview House and Gardens, a dance residency there through the summer.
Awesome. I love that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm really excited to hear about your online community as well, as we kind of hear more about your journey and all the fun things that you're working on. So I'm curious, though, to kind of go back to your origin story a little bit. So can you tell us a little bit about when you first fell in love with dance or knew, okay, this is something I want to pursue?
Yeah. I think maybe it took me a while to fall in love with dance, to the degree some of my friends and future colleagues did. I didn't experience it as an emotional kind of passion or anything when I was younger, but I always danced, and my mom talks about how I used to dance around the house a lot, and my parents just noticed that I was always dancing, and they thought, oh, this might be a gift that she's can excel in, and they shared some books with me, some little dance books that I need to ask her, I don't know where they came from, but 2 books they gave me when I was probably 6 or 7, and she said, if you would like to learn about dance, start here, and then if you practice these steps and you stick with it and you want to try lessons in person, then we'll do that. And so I did, and then I started taking classes, and just the combo classes that kids do of ballet, tap, and jazz. Yes. And then from there, that's kind of what got me into a dance studio and dancing at the civic community company in high school, and then dancing at our church as well for the dance ministry team, which led me to eventually Adeum in Texas for the camp, and then to Belhaven. Yeah.
Cool. So that was kind of the path of how you ended up at Belhaven.
Yeah.
So cool. I love that. And that's really neat that it started from books, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know that I hear that super often. So I love that, that your mom or your parents were like, here's some resources. Go ahead and see what you can pick up and learn, and if you enjoy it and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
I really should ask them more about that time, because I don't really remember it, but I have those 2 books. And I share them with our daughter. She likes to look through them and try some of the steps and stuff. But it is funny because books have always been a big part of my life. And I guess maybe they even just knew that this is how she'll learn. She likes to read and learn on her own. I was also homeschooled. And so independent learning was really big in our family. So I'm wondering
Mm-hmm.
if maybe that's why they were like, let's start here. And it's
Right.
also
Like this
like,
is a good entry point
yeah,
for
uh-huh,
sure. Ah, I love that so much. That's really, really cool. And so sweet that you're able to kind of have that now with your daughter and that
hmm,
generational kind of
yeah,
beauty in that. So cool. Awesome. Well, I'm curious. So you got to Belhaven, and was that through like at the AJM workshop? Did you meet some like professors or how did that connection
yeah,
happen?
yeah. There was someone that was in the leading the dance ministry that we had, and I was kind of like assisting her in choreographing and learning how to make dances that I hadn't done. But that's kind of where I learned to do that. And she had mentioned Ballet Magnificat, and I had not heard of that
Yes.
company. And she mentioned that they had a summer program. And then I was just doing, I think, some searching on my own, like on the web back in the day. And
Yes.
then when I was searching for what she shared about Ballet Magnificat is when either she and I or me and my family saw a Dayum's camp. And I was like, this sounds nice. And so I went for, I guess it was a summer intensive. And then, yeah, met like all of the faculty that would have been at Belhaven during that time. Definitely
Yeah.
Cynthia and Laura Morton. Maybe Ravenna was there, but it was really Miss
Cool.
Newland who, around the time that they have a showcase or something at the end of the week, I shared like a solo or something, and she said, "Hey, we have a school. We would love to." I think she was like recruiting
Yeah.
many people at the time, and she's like, "We have a school. We'd
Right.
love to have you." But otherwise, I look back and like I wouldn't have found my way probably down here to Louisiana had I not been there, and I definitely wouldn't have gone to Mississippi if it wasn't for going to that camp.
Right.
Because I don't know anyone. We were in Illinois, and I don't know
Hmm.
anyone that really lived around here at the time. So
Yeah. That's really neat seeing how the dots kind of connect and
hmm,
how that journey takes place. And yeah, I think it's fun seeing really how small the dance world can be as well and some of those like connected circles that happen over time and
yeah,
yeah, so that's really cool how you ended up there. And then now like kind of looking back, since we're celebrating the 30 years of dance, looking back on your time at Belhaven, is there anything that stands out as impactful or things that you have really taken like in your career? Yeah.
yeah. It's so funny. Like even now with working, like I think the dance world has like a lot of community aspects to it, and especially
Mm.
Belhaven. I think the art department has a lot of like communal experiences, like of being in the dance department, of going to the like weekly meetings together, and of just like it's interesting how I feel like artists share like maybe more than the other students at a school, at least at Belhaven, share in like the whole journey of life together. Like they're always in classes
Yes.
together, always eating meals together, always like going to events, and just sharing like in a community experience. And yeah, there's just now things that I think about. I'm like with doing this in the online space, I just remember back to a lot of the community based experience that I had even in Jackson too. I think there was a
Mm-hmm.
lot going on at the time, and when I was there during undergrad, people volunteering at local organizations or through their churches that were there, or even just like different ministries that were going out into the city.
Mm-hmm.
I think being a part of the dance ministry ensemble, and even before that, having the experience in high school of we would go out to like nursing homes and things similar to the dance ministry
Yeah.
ensemble, like through the summer, and just share dance with other people. And so,
Awesome.
yeah, those kinds of experiences now, I especially thinking about like how to bring online spaces, make them more human and more where we can connect to each other like this, like in virtual spaces. I
Right.
remember back to like the experiences I had, probably being at Belhaven, that would have been, and college, like having come from being homeschooled before that, everything was very independent or like with my family. And so I think that
Mm-hmm.
experience at Belhaven was the first time that I was with other people that were my age doing the same kind of thing and just like sharing life together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that being, really impactful, a really special experience in
Mm-hmm.
a way, especially coming, out of a different, more independent education. So,
Yeah, yeah. And I look
yeah.
back at those times, and I'm also like, as a person who wasn't very like, there's some parts of me that I look back and I wasn't very like into physical contact or even just like opening up emotionally. And I feel like the dance department is very welcoming. Like, we're gonna hug you, we're gonna welcome you in, we're gonna love you, and show it in that way. And so it's
Yeah.
interesting because now, like, as a person, I feel a little bit more open to like
Hmm.
being vulnerable with people and like sharing in that way. And so it's cool to
Right.
look back and think like those experiences like shaped me probably in ways that I didn't know that I was being like opened a little bit as like
Interesting.
kind
Yeah.
of like a reserved like introvert type person, you know?
Yes, that's so fascinating. I love that.
Hmm.
And I think back to those department meetings as well. And there was probably more than one where some of us like just were in tears for
I was gonna
whatever
say,
reason.
yeah, like with the tissue
Something Cynthia
boxes.
Newland sharing and so great. And I always love that it's Friday. Like it's those
Hmm.
little ritual moments that, continue on and I don't know,
Yeah.
it just creates, that sense of community
That's so
connection.
funny you were saying that because we actually were just in the car taking our daughter to school, me and Andre. And on the way there, I was noticing it is Friday today, I think, like
It
when
is.
this is
Yes,
being
it is.
recorded. Yeah. And so I said, it's Friday. And someone that I know, like on the internet space, Wendy, she often says it's Friday. And then she says, it's Friday, Friday, Friday. And so, like, I actually, until you said it, I didn't even remember that department meetings it always was like, it's Friday, and everybody cheering and stuff.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Super fun. Well, I'm also curious, what was the time between undergrad and grad school for you? And then we could talk about maybe the differences between those two experiences.
That sounds good. Um, I guess time between 2010 and I went back in 2014. So, like, the highlights of that time, I think I went home for a little bit after graduating. Wasn't totally sure what my plan would be.
I feel like a lot of us get to that
Yeah.
space like, okay, what's next? Yeah.
Yeah, what's next? And so I went home for a bit. I think I worked maybe, I don't know, a couple months or something. But I ended up going to Arizona and living with my aunt and helping her, like, as kind of like as a nanny for my cousin.
Aw.
I did like a couple months internship at a place called Free Arts for Abused Children in Arizona. I don't know if it's still called that,
Okay.
but they offered like arts programming that would go into different group homes. I think even some school programs and stuff that they did. But I was just interning with like their development department, learning
Oh,
about how
cool.
they researched grants and how they talked to their donors and things like that. But I really just followed people around and saw like the ins and outs of their arts organization. And I thought
Nice.
I would stay out there for a bit, but yeah, ended up staying there for a couple months and then moving back home for a bit. There was an audition coming through in Chicago, which is like 3 hours from my hometown, for
Yeah.
the Ailey School Professional Division. And I had known of the Ailey, of the company and the school and stuff, but I wasn't
Yeah.
thinking that I was going to go there after graduating college. That in my mind, I was like, that's something people do like when they're college age or before that. But they had a
Right.
program that was like up to age 25. And so I just went to
Cool.
Chicago and auditioned and then was accepted and did some fundraising from friends and family that supported me to go. And then I went to New York City for like a year and a half to do that program.
Oh, that's really
Yeah,
cool.
and then built like a community of people I knew out there, able to perform in
Hmm.
like some smaller shows and to set works like as a student. But it was interesting,
Oh,
like it
yeah.
was nice to be in that space after already having graduated and done the college experience and then to go and
Hmm.
just kind of like get my feet wet in the world of like just more independent stuff. But still
Yeah.
being a student really again at the Ailey School, I was still like one of the older people there, but I was definitely a student as well.
Yes, that continued learning, which I think is
Hmm.
so So good throughout life, but especially in those moments. And was there anything in New York that, I don't know, just like takeaways from your time in New York?
Yeah, I met like some just awesome people that I haven't been there actually since 20. Well, we went for like a day trip or two, but I haven't been there for anything dance related since 2013. But during that time, like 2011, 2012, it was just neat to see like what people were making, like with sometimes very small resources that they had, but like people building companies. Not necessarily this one. I don't know what the resources were, but I connected with Amalgamate Dance Company. I don't
Okay.
think that they're still a company, but with Alana or Elena, I can never remember, Marie Erda.
Huh?
And she had a company that would do like these seasonal shows where people could come and be guest artists. And so I and other people that were like our age would come and we'd be guest artists in this show, but it was like a chance to get experience to perform and to learn from these like rotating choreographers. And I did
Cool.
like an internship with them during that time too, just to learn more about their company. But yeah, like it was
Yeah.
just fun to see. Like I saw a lot of different modern shows and a lot of different site specific shows and stuff that I hadn't seen at
Yeah.
Belhaven because I was just kind of like on the college campus. So it was neat to see like
Hmm.
where dance can be like in the bigger parts of the world, I guess.
Yes, for sure. Kind of that expansion. And
Yeah.
yeah. So then what was your thought process behind going back to get your master's?
Oh man. Um, I don't know it. I don't know. I know it was a process because I wrote about it. I wrote about the decision and I like researched how other people decided about it because it's an expensive decision to do an MFA program and then also
Mm.
not know like are you planning to go into like a college setting and teach or what else would I be doing? But I knew I
Hmm.
wanted to keep learning and
Yeah.
I probably would have stayed in school for forever at that time. Like if I wanted, I would just keep going to school.
Yes, I love
Um,
it.
yeah, so I knew I wanted to keep learning, and it sounded like a fun thing to do. But
Huh?
yeah, the actual process of making the decision, I wrote about it and asked a lot of people's input. I think I even reached out to people like Cynthia Newland and Krista Bauer and Aaron Rockwell and just asked like their experience of their jobs and roles that they were teaching and what they do in those jobs and how they like it. There was a blog at the time from Lydia Hance, who I think is in Texas, but I
Hmm.
think it was a group called Frame Dance, and they had this
Okay.
blog called MFA Mondays. And so it was just
Ah,
people who were either getting their MFA or had received their MFA sharing about the experience every Monday in a blog post.
well,
And
that's
so I
awesome.
read that. Yeah, I read that to like
Yeah.
get insight into what other people's experience was. And then I also at one point connected with Lydia to also share and write like about my experience deciding if this was right for me. But yeah, in the end, like I think the program at Belhaven was coming up and it was new.
Yes,
I didn't
that's
join
right.
the first year of the program. I actually joined, I think, like the second year. But I looked into it that first year and then ended up working at home in Illinois for a year before going and deciding, okay, I'll try it. And it was neat. It's like I'm familiar with the school, I'm familiar with some of the faculty, not all. So it
Yeah.
just felt like this was the next thing for me to do.
Yeah, that's great. And I imagine there is some comfort in like, okay, it's not all unknown, there's a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of that
Mm-hmm.
familiarity, even though it has shifted over time. But yeah, would you say any, major things that stood out as maybe differences in your experience undergrad versus grad school or maybe things that were similar?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was neat. I don't know if it was, I guess it probably just depended on which classes I took, maybe in undergrad, but it seemed like during my grad school experience, I was very much like under Dr. Emily Wright,
Yeah.
who was leading the program at the time that I was doing it, and she had a lot of emphasis on like community building, really, and
Yeah.
social justice work, and
Yeah.
how movement and art can change like the social landscape of the world, the political landscape of the world. And I think going back during that time, maybe it's this way for people when they're just like at that season of life in grad school, like getting a chance to study these things again. But I don't know if it was what we were reading or like how we were talking about it, but it just felt like a chance for me to learn how powerful dance is and like the many different ways that we can share it with the world, and how I guess I knew like the impact. That's the name of your. I guess I knew like the
Yes.
impact of the arts.
Yeah, I love it.
Creative impact.
Like, love
um,
it.
but I definitely during that time understood it more of like that there's just so many different ways that you can impact the world through movement, whether it's therapeutic or whether it's bringing like empowerment to people or accessibility. So yeah, that time was
Right.
really rich for that.
Yeah, I love hearing about that and just kind of
Mm-hmm.
what that experience was like, and like you said, during that season and when she was leading as well. And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure it is shaped based on kind of who your
Like
faculty
who's
are. And
leading? Yeah, I think
yes,
so.
exactly, for sure. Speaking of community building and just your experience as a choreographer, as a teacher, yeah, what have been maybe some of the most rewarding moments for you? I guess we'll go like post grad school and up to current day.
Okay. Oh, man. This is like things I
That's a
should
big
write
question.
down. Pretty much after grad school, I moved here pretty quickly. Andre and he also went to Belhaven for a couple
Yes.
years, but then
Okay.
ended up at UNO here, which is where he's from. So
Cool.
I think I moved here like 2017 or 18. We got married, and then I've been here since then, just like building life together and also learning more about like the dance that's already here in New Orleans. I came here like not just for our relationship, but also because I auditioned for the Marigny Opera Ballet. That company
Mm-hmm.
was a huge part of my journey to get to New Orleans and to like have my first experience with a professional dance company that's like more long term. And so that
Mm-hmm.
dancing with them for I think about 5 years through COVID, and then even the first year after having our daughter, that was a really significant part of my like after graduate school life.
Yes.
And then right when I got here, I connected with Brittany Williams at the New Orleans Dance Network, and meeting her right when I moved here also really like helped me connect with people in the dance community here. She
Ooh.
knows pretty much everyone that's creating work here, teaching and
Oh,
everything,
that's
and she's
super
built
cool.
up
Yeah.
this like network so that people can know what kinds of classes are happening and stuff. And she
Mm-hmm.
organized the National Dance Day event that happened in the summers, and things like that. So meeting her like helped me connect with other people here. And then another studio of Sophia's called Artivism. I think maybe even before I moved here was my first chance to perform in New Orleans. They have like a show called Movement for Change, and I don't know if
Cool.
they do it anymore, but they would have like different performances from people in the community. And
Oh,
so even
neat.
though I had just moved here, I got a chance to perform in that show and then meet other people around here. That was
Right.
huge. From that
Connecting.
period of like dancing with the company and teaching a lot at different studios
Mm-hmm.
during that time, then I kind of moved more into setting work through different museum residencies. However, I can kind of make it work for
Yeah.
our family and for like financially and to be able to choreograph. So I've done one
Really
with
neat.
with
How
the
does
art
that?
centers and things here.
Yeah, I'm so curious to hear more about that because I don't know if that's as talked about in the dance world. Connecting
Yeah,
in with like a museum or a gallery or something like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I see people do it like on the internet, not people that I know, but I see people doing it, and I would like to do it more myself. I think now the way it started for me was I used to apply for like a lot of things. Like I
Yeah,
used to
that's
apply
great.
for like so many programs and just
Yeah,
so
to
many
see what
things.
what
Yeah,
stuck or what
yeah.
opened up.
hmm
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
apply like for things like that as much as anymore, but I saw something for like a small residency at the Contemporary Arts Center here, and I think they'd done the program maybe 1 year before that already, but it was virtual because it was like right after that pandemic period. And so the year that I did it was back in person. But yeah, I got this like performing arts residency. It was a stipend that is really useful for people doing like visual arts to like pay for materials and have a chance to exhibit their work at the museum
Yeah.
or the center. And it was useful
Mm-hmm.
for me. I used the funds differently though to pay for dancers to make work with. And
Oh,
so
yeah. That is
I
interesting that it's
also,
still kind of I don't want to say materials, but sort
I was
of,
gonna,
but
yeah, I was
like,
gonna say
yeah.
that too.
What makes up the art, which
Uh-huh, uh-huh. I like that.
love it.
Yeah, yeah. And so I fundraised outside of that as well to be able to pay friends. But that was like my first chance to make work here that was like a little longer. I don't think it was technically like, it was more of like a short length. I think it was under that like 45, 50-minute range. But making that was the first time I was able to create something on my own here in New Orleans. And then it received the Gambit Award here, which is like a classical arts award, which was really cool to me. I
That
hadn't
is
done
so
that yet.
exciting.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's really
And that
cool.
kind of like just showed me, oh, if I find something else like this, I know this, like how to create work in this unique space. I can try it again. And so then when I
Yeah.
saw a residency for the New Orleans Museum of Art, I was like, I can do this. And I already have like a little example of having done it before. So I just kind of kept trying to do
Great.
that kind of thing. Yeah.
Cool. That is
Yeah.
so neat. I love that. It's just a different, yeah, space to be able to create in. And yeah, I can imagine fun kind of having that collaborative element in a way, um,
Yeah. It's
whether
neat.
directly or indirectly with visual art.
Yeah, it's like the so far each of the, not the residency I'm doing now, but the other two, like it was neat because I was connected with other people who were doing like a residency at the same time for different arts. One,
Okay.
there was four of us. We maybe only like met virtually. I don't think we actually ever met in person, but it was nice to
Hmm.
know like that I was making work at the same time that they were making work in the same space.
Yeah.
And then the
Uh-huh.
one that I did at New Orleans Museum of Art was for a year long, and that had 8 different artists, and we actually did meet in person, which was really cool. Like a couple
Fun.
times we
Yes.
met and like would talk about what we're doing, and there was a
Yeah.
theme for the project. So yeah, that experience was really collaborative, but also open enough to like just try new stuff.
Yes, for sure. That is super
Hmm.
cool. And you've kind of already touched on this, but I'm curious, is there anything that you feel like makes the New Orleans arts dance scene special or unique?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm sure there are so many things. And people here, if they were sitting here with me, would have all the answers to share. But for me, it's like everybody that I've met is pretty open. Like,
Huh?
there's still like some segmentation that I think there are in other dance communities of different styles staying with different styles or certain companies staying with certain companies. But like overall, like most people in the dance community here know of each other.
Yeah.
And it seems like people are really supportive of like other work, even if like they don't always get to go and see shows and stuff. Like it's just very encouraging. I see dancers out taking class or like just at festivals. Like dance is just kind of everywhere here too. Like as a city that has
Oh,
like so
yes.
many festivals and like a rich culture of cultural dances as well. It's like, yeah, we definitely didn't have that relationship to dance in like the Midwest where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
At least not
Right.
in
Yeah.
Springfield where I was from. Like dance
Yes,
is
that
like
makes
such a
sense.
part of the city.
Yeah, more integrated into that
Hmm.
fabric of the city's culture, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's really really cool. I love it. So, I would love to dive into your community that you built, your online community called Skool, right? Is it Skool
Yeah,
Dance?
the app is called Skool, and so we're called Skool Dance. Right now, it might change in the future, and it's
Okay.
originally the group was called Dance Hub, and
Oh, okay.
it was just that, like a hub for dancers to collect online and connect with each other. And it's still
Mm-hmm.
pretty much just about that.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So How would you, I guess, describe, like, if someone was interested in checking it out, like um, what are the key like components of what you guys do at Skool Dance?
Yeah, we are on an app called Skool, which has been around for a few years now, but really had like a larger wave of people coming to it to create these online spaces like last year,
Okay.
and within this past year and a half or so. And our group is for anybody that's interested in dance. Before, we had a community that was like maybe people who are interested in dance already had experience and like pursuing it maybe more professionally or independently. Now we're a group of, there are people there that are pursuing it like as a degree, a profession, who just want to try dance for the first time, who
Yeah.
have an interest like in the topic. And it's cool to come together. There are about 150 of us in there. Not everyone is active in the space, but there's like some regular people that have been there from the beginning, that it's like now it's also been really cool for me in building like the space with these people, because I also have a place that I can go and I feel like this is my home, like this is my community too. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
a facilitator, but like definitely able to be a member in there, which is really nice.
Yeah, that's so fun. So do you guys get to share like video or thoughts
Yes.
about what you're creating or working on, that kind of thing?
Yes. Right now there's like um not really a set structure of what it is that we do in there, but there are some like touch points of what we kind of do regularly. So I
Mm-hmm.
often ask people in the group what they want and then just try and make it happen as best I can. And I can't do everything. Andre and I both have poured like a lot of resources into building this free space, as it's kind of like my first time building like an online business. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but the cool thing about it is we've had a ton of classes so far, some of them with like just guests that I've reached out to online or people who are already inside the group. And then we also do these like weekly, we hope I will put them back on the calendar again, but these dance breaks where we just come together and dance for 15 minutes. It doesn't work
Fun.
out for every time zone, but
Yeah.
we've gotten like the US folks who are free in the evening. We'll just come on Zoom for 15 minutes and I'll have a playlist of music. Sometimes there's people dancing with their kids or with their pets, or some people just listening. Yeah, yeah, it's really fun. Classes, dance breaks, and then we have also had workshops with different guests that will come in and do more like sitting and talking, like a presentation type thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. That's so fun. I love
yeah,
that.
it's really fun.
Yeah. Neat to
And
hear
it's
about
neat.
what's happening.
There's a couple of Belhaven people that have come in just yesterday, actually, which is neat. Um, and I think there are maybe already a few in there, but there's some people that are local to where I'm at, so it's nice to be able to stay in
Yeah.
touch online. And then there's some people that are in parts of the world that we haven't met yet, but I'm like looking forward to a chance when I get to meet them on the other side of the world.
Yes. That'd be so neat to be like, look how this happened and we got connected online and now we get to
Yeah,
meet like, yeah,
yeah.
globally.
We're
So
already
cool.
telling each other, like I've already messaged a few people in there, and if they hear this they'll know like who they are. We're already talking about like one day soon, maybe next year or the year after, have to have like an international meetup or something.
Yes, that'd be so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool. I love that you're investing in building community, across different lines, whether that is through ability level or
Yeah,
experience level or different geographic regions and things like that. So super
yeah,
fun. Yeah,
it's been
really
really
awesome.
neat. And I thought back like when the group was called Dance Hub, I was on I don't know if you know Jason's podcast, The Background Dancer, but I had a chance to be on it when the group was still called, I think, Dance Hub.
Okay.
And but at the end, he asked a question about, I think it was like, how do you define a dancer or something? And when he
Wow.
asked that question, I had already been thinking about that for myself. But I think back to whenever that was, like last year. And when he asked me, I was kind of thrown off guard a little bit, because I think deep down in my heart, I felt like if you dance, you're a dancer. But as I said that, I was like, oh, whoa, that's actually really hard for me to say as someone
Oh,
who's
wow. Yeah.
trained in this their whole life.
Right.
I think there's this certain like prestige that sometimes maybe we carry with us about who can be a dancer. And so as he asked me that, I was like, oh yeah, if you dance, oh wow, yeah, if you dance, you're a dancer. I'm going to say that. But
Yeah.
after saying that, like, this isn't, I don't think, like a big transformative thing for some people, because there's so many people that are talking about like inclusivity in dance and how everyone can dance. But at the time when I said that, I was like, oh, I do think that. And through this past
Yeah.
year, that's really a part of why the group changed, is because there were people who had wanted to join the online community, but they didn't have any dance experience and they were looking for like a place to learn dance. And I didn't feel like I wasn't offering anything to teach. So I wasn't sure
Yeah.
that this was the space for them. But then since we've opened it up for everybody, it's neat because it's like, even though there's people there that either want to learn to dance or they're just like, they just love the idea of dance, like, we don't
Yeah.
always have to be sharing about it or like doing a class. We can still like just share space with each other. And when they see something that feels right, like they'll comment on it. Or the podcast I was on the other day, someone who's in the group mentioned, like, I'm in the group and I'm not super active in it, but I love knowing that like there's people dancing and it reminds me, oh, I can just take a moment and dance in my day. So that's been
Yes.
encouraging too. Just like we can all share space even though we're not like doing the exact same thing. It's like, that sounds
Right.
obvious.
Yeah, that's such a good, just in a way, like a good light bulb moment of
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, this is possible and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I love it. There's been times, like even recently, just walking through, like, there's just a lot of like stress, even if it's good things, but it's
Mm-hmm.
just, there's a lot going on. And I realized I was like, I can just put on some music and have fun and dance around. And it is like such a good outlet slash helps our bodies just feel better in our
Yeah.
minds and
Yeah.
everything. So yeah, no matter what people are able to find through dance, like there's so much value and such a gift, I think, to
Yeah.
humanity as a whole. So
Yeah. I feel like that
yeah.
too. And I forget
Yeah.
it sometimes, because I don't think I danced like socially or for fun before I started the studio experience. And then once I was in
Mm-hmm.
the studio, dance was like, this is how you dance and this is the
Right,
way we
very
do it.
structured and
Yeah, but I
yes.
think some people, like especially here, seeing in New Orleans, like there's people who dance all the time, but they're not like taking a dance class or whatever. But dance is like, they're dancers, like they've done this their whole life
Mm-hmm.
and they have the experience and they have like the technique or the skill of whatever it is. And I'm like, that's neat too, just to know that like we can move our body anytime and it doesn't have to just be for a class or a show or something like that. Like it's a part of
Exactly.
like our soul and who we are and stuff.
Yes, yes, for sure, for sure. So you mentioned that you are also a mom,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd love to just kind of get into what does that look like for you, kind of motherhood as an artist. I know it's all connected, but
Yeah.
yeah, any thoughts on motherhood?
Yeah, it's interesting now because our daughter's about to turn 4,
Hey,
and
yeah.
yeah, so I stop and think about it sometimes. I'm curious to see like what that relationship between like motherhood, parenthood, and like art career will be like as she grows older. I know in the very beginning and even up till now it was like a lot to navigate for me because I don't know if I just like missed the memo. I don't think I did though. I don't think I really knew anyone who was sharing about their experience of like motherhood and dance. And now there's like Dancers in Motherhood, the like Instagram
Yes.
page, and there's like so many people sharing about like what it's like to be a parent and be an artist. Um,
Mm-hmm. It does seem like
maybe it
there's a lot
was,
more conversation around it now,
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
a little bit less like I feel like it used to be okay, especially as a dancer. Okay,
Uh
once you
huh.
have kids, then you're just done being a dancer and you're just,
Yes.
you kind of, for whatever reason, that was sort of the perception. Maybe because we're thinking like, okay, like a classical ballet company,
Yeah.
and there are beautiful ballerinas and ballet companies that are moms. So that's
Yeah.
beautiful. But I think that was kind of the perception. And
I think so
so I
too.
love that people are talking about it and figuring out, okay, how do we navigate this in a healthy way? And yeah.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, and I think around the time that I was pregnant and then through the birth, and it was also neat to see like I'm sure my mom shared lots with me about the experience of being a mom. It's just such a long time from when you're like born to if you give birth. Like, I don't remember all that stuff.
Right?
So
Exactly. It's like a totally different world that we don't even think about. So
yeah, and so I look back and half the time I'm like, nobody shared that with me, but I'm sure they did because there's stuff that I tell our daughter now and we talk about that. I'm like, she won't remember this 30 years from now. But
right.
yeah, during that like pandemic period, I think I found out that I was pregnant around like fall of 2020 maybe. Yeah.
Okay,
And
yeah.
so in during that time it was neat because it's like I was home, everyone was
Hmm.
home. So
That works
it
out.
wasn't
Yeah.
yeah, it worked out really well for me. It was like I could experience like the changes in my body and like the mental taxation or just like the shifts in our family and life. But everybody was home and it was like I could also teach some of my classes virtually. The studios were really accommodating because like nobody was in the physical studio. And so yeah, I taught like pretty much up till a month before giving birth. And
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
and then
great.
from there, it was like I could see lots of people's Instagram accounts and stuff and learn about like what they were doing to prepare for birth or postpartum, like even just the way people
Yeah.
talked about their experience, like coming back to their art. And I also, during that time, like took and recorded voice notes on my phone.
Well, that's a great idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like after our daughter was born, there was like an 8 week period where Andre went away for work, and I would sometimes go with him. But now with like a newborn, I didn't go this time.
Right, right.
And so I took that time to like write these voice notes of like my experience and being a new mom. And I
Yeah.
haven't gone back to listen to them, but it was like being able to like have that creative outlet and to share it with people on the internet it
Hmm.
was actually really good for me to be able to process that.
Yeah, that does sound like a really healthy outlet. And
Hmm.
I think it will be maybe meaningful to go back and listen at some point or get to share them with her at some point, you know? And so what's super fun is that you also had a podcast going for a little while there. Do you want to share a little bit about that? Is it still available that people could go listen?
I
Do you
think
know?
it is if they look it up, but I don't even know how to like log in or do anything with it. I think it was called This Is My Life for 6 weeks. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
and I thought in the moment that I guess so he was gone then I guess like 6 weeks, maybe not 8 weeks. But I pretty much was just like recording daily or every couple of days, like about solo parenting as a new parent,
Mm,
um, when it's just
yeah.
me and this new baby and yeah, figuring out that. And then I think it was also around that. Oh, and I did have like a lot of support, thankfully, from his family that was able to help and watch
Good,
the
good.
baby during that time too. And I think my mom came down too from Illinois. But yeah, it was also during that period where I was getting back into the studio for the first time and would
Okay.
bring her with me and then just lay her down in the studio and starting to choreograph for that first residency that I was telling
Oh,
you
okay.
about.
So it kind of
So,
lined up there.
hmm
Yeah. That's
yeah,
neat.
so it was nice to
Hmm.
be able to like make that shift back into dancing again.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for sharing your experience with motherhood and kind of
Hmm.
the transition, especially in that period.
Yeah,
And yeah, so
very
cool.
unexpected, but I'm like, I look back and I'm thankful. I'm thankful that there's like a lot of resources I think now for people if they are planning to continue dancing or making art or even just knowing like you can continue doing that and being able to
Yes.
find like the support to do it however you can. I feel like there's a lot of information and resources now.
Yes, yes. Agreed. I think that's such a gift to,
Hmm.
you know, mothers around the world or around, especially in the US, I feel like that are getting some
Yeah.
of those things and hopefully having a little bit more of that support system for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, yeah. So I know something that you mentioned, we do like a little pre interview form or whatever. So I got some information from you, but I love your passion for helping people just like rediscover the joy of movement and dance. And, maybe someone who has lost touch with that sense of joy around movement. And I'm curious to hear how you encourage dancers in that. Like if they're at a place of, I don't know if it would be burnout or just kind of feeling like they are lacking that sense of, this used to bring me a lot of joy and it no longer does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any thoughts on how people can rediscover their love
Yeah,
and joy for dance?
definitely. I found the most like beneficial thing for me to experience that joy again and like inspiration to make art or move has been just like talking with people and being in a space where I feel like I can share how I really feel. I think sometimes maybe if people are feeling things like burnout or stress around like their art career, it's difficult if they keep all of that. And for me too, like if I keep all of that bottled up inside and I don't have anywhere to share with someone I'm feeling this way, sometimes like just simply being able to share with one person and say like I really feel like this, and for them to be able to just listen or validate, that's okay, I felt that way too. Because I think we're all feeling sometimes like the same things, but we don't always say it because I think maybe not so much now, but there's definitely been a culture of just continuing on and like pushing through a lot of things that aren't healthy for everybody.
Right.
But if we don't know it's not healthy, we feel like I have to push through. I'm an artist. Like this is how I make art, and this is what I do, and this is burnout. It's not burnout. It's just normal for everybody. But really, like these feelings of like needing to stop or just pause what you're doing, like it's your body or however you feel, like if it's God telling you or if you feel like it's just your mind, or it's a sign that you need to do something different. And
Yeah.
so the opportunities that I've had to like feel less burnout or feel more joy have been me being able to share with people, like friends that are feeling the same way, or
Yeah.
anyone, even in our online space. Like right now, we have someone in there. You might actually know Robin Rhodes from Belhaven. She was there. Maybe actually, you might not. I don't know if you crossed, but she
Okay.
was there slightly
Yeah.
before me,
Okay.
and has taught all around the world, and
Yeah.
now is like a college professor, and she's shared a mental health awareness challenge for our group, and it's called "What State Are You In?" And I love it
Huh?
because she's been sharing these videos that just ask people, like, it's just a check-in to see like how are you feeling, and for us to just like be aware of that, and to, if we want to, comment and share with each other like how we're really feeling. And I think stuff like that, like being able to just open up and say like, oh, this is hard or whatever, like we don't always do that sometimes, I think. So the chance if you can, stop, be aware of how you feel, let yourself share it with somebody, and then also know that if you're feeling like that, you don't have to keep going. Like,
Yeah, it's
I
okay to
know,
take a
yeah,
pause
take a
or stop,
pause
whatever.
to
Yeah.
stop. And if there's a setting where it's like, if it's a class that's making you feel that way and you're able to just pause, try something different, maybe try another teacher, or if it's like a rehearsal experience, just being able to say like, okay, I'm feeling this way, I need a minute, or maybe I need to take a day off or something
Yeah.
like that. Like sometimes I feel like there's bigger things at play that maybe it's not going to be solved with just like taking one day off. But I think it
Right.
does start with just noticing how we feel and allowing ourselves to be okay with that, and like let someone know like this is
Yeah, for
hard and we're
sure.
all just working to make art and
Yes,
keep going.
exactly. Yes, and recognizing the humanity in it, and that
Hmm.
it's, yeah, we're not always gonna be feeling at this like level of whatever, like
Hmm.
production
Hmm.
or creativity and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's good that
Yeah.
there's kind of ebbs and flows.
Yeah, and there's like it's cool to remember that like some of the people who've made some of the most beautiful art like through time, I think they weren't always making it when life felt rosy, and they weren't
Yeah.
always making it like in these pristine settings that we sometimes see like on the internet. Like they were often making art like maybe out of necessity or survival, or just needing to get something out that they had to express in some way from their heart. But we often see like art making as beautiful and easy and stuff from the way some people portray it online. And it's just good to know like behind the scenes, like, usually right there, I have a pile of clothes that is now here on the floor. And I tell
Right.
all the people in our group, sometimes I'll snap a picture and we'll do like a Saturday share or a Sunday share where people will
Mm-hmm.
just share like pictures of what's happening. And often mine is like a giant pile of laundry. And it's just like,
Yes.
I don't know. There's nothing like magical about that. But like when I see people that are just showing like the ins and out of every day, it makes me feel like, okay, everyone else is just dealing with the like reality of
Yes.
being a human.
This is just normal and it's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's so good to be reminded of that because there's so much, yeah, so much noise in a way of sort of like curated
Yes.
life and, this sort of portrayal of perfection or whatever and having it all together. So it's really nice just to know, everyone really is just living normal life and they may have
Yep.
just pushed all that into the other room to take this
Right.
picture. So great. I love it. Well, this is so fun. And I know probably a good number of people listening may be younger dancers, like high school,
Okay.
college age. And I would love
Wow.
to just let you share maybe a word of advice or encouragement for those young artists that are kind of just
Yeah.
at the beginning of their journey.
Hmm. That's really exciting. Yeah, I think if you're in that like high school, college period, if you can, I think people always say this though, but it's true. Like, if you can just like take time to enjoy the moments and like do the things that are fun, maybe on the weekend, go to like the social event on your campus. Like, I think there's some
Yeah.
things that I missed about like the college experience of different events that I didn't always go to because I was, I don't know, studying, things like that. So I think
Yeah.
just enjoying like the season that you're in as much as you can. And also, even in those times, like as a high school, college person, knowing that like you have a deep awareness of yourself as a person. Like, there's a lot too that I think as a high school student, you're receiving a lot in classes, and even in college, you're receiving a lot from all these teachers. But if you can, whether it's like through journaling or through keeping voice notes or videos, become more aware of like yourself and what you like. Even just writing
Mm.
down like, I like this kind of art or I like this kind of performance. This class feels good for my body. I think I've realized that later now, like what actually feels good for me and how I like to live, what kinds of classes I like to take, how I like to perform. Looking back, it's like I had an idea of that, but I don't know if people always encouraged. There just isn't time sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
like in high
Yeah.
school, you're going from class to class, and same for college. You're there to really to learn and be poured into. But I think if you can also just take a moment and listen and know, like you already have
That's
a
good.
lot within you as an artist too. So
Right.
just
Yeah.
take time to
Slowing down
discover
long enough
yourself.
to, yes, to discover and learn and listen
Mm-hmm.
and reflect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So good. So similarly, um, just for artists in general, any like word of encouragement or something on your heart, maybe something we didn't get to talk about yet, or it could be reiterating something you've already shared, but something on your heart to share with other artists right now.
No, other artists right now. Yeah, I think in this specific moment, there's just a little bit of a lot of heaviness actually. That there's just a lot being taken away from artists, whether it's a company that's losing access to funds that they might have had before. I think it can feel disheartening for all of us, because this is the career path that we chose. But yeah, and it is sad, it is heavy that people are losing funding and things that they had before. So I don't want to diminish that in any way. I also feel like we are very good as artists, like at coming together in difficult times. And so for me right now, I know that I don't always make it to in person things, but I'm trying to connect to the community that's with me locally and see
Yeah.
how like we can support one another. Not everybody is using like national funding, and those that are will, I'm sure, have to like find it elsewhere or find ways to make do. So
Right.
I think in this specific moment, it's just like balancing taking care of yourself in a hard time, whether it is your company is losing funds or taking care of yourself and your people. But also, like, this is a chance, I guess, for us because of necessity to just find how we can connect maybe to unique resources that we didn't know were available that aren't like traditionally what we would need for the arts, but just like coming back to small community care, I think, is
Yeah.
really helpful now.
Kind of balance of acknowledging the hard and also like there is hope to
Yeah.
the resilience of artists and, you know, the community element of it. That's beautiful.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
have to remind myself that because I would sometimes sit and catastrophize, like, oh no, will there ever be art again? Like, are people going to keep making art? Like, will this
Mm-hmm.
be possible? But then I remind myself, like, these things happen and we do. Like, there is hope. We will rise above. It isn't
Mm-hmm.
good that we always have to rise above, but we will. We'll make do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it might be like a unique chance to just focus in on local communities.
Right. That, yeah, the local support and, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
connections and things. So good. Well, thank you for that. And yeah, I love this is more just for fun to wrap us up, but I love to ask what is one of your favorite things right now?
Oh,
That could
favorite
be literally
things?
anything. Yeah.
Okay. The first thing that came to mind is going to the park with our daughter. We've been doing
Yeah.
that. And yeah, that's I think my favorite thing. It just brings me back to like being a kid, gets me
Mm,
outside. It's been like good for my mind and yeah.
yeah. I love that so much. It's, yeah, super good. So fun to play. And
Hmm.
like, yeah. And the outdoors always is like a filling thing, I feel like. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I think
sweet.
so too.
Yeah, well, Lauren, this has been such a treat and a gift to get to hang out with you, get to hear more about your journey, and it's fun because you see glimpses of people on social media
Yeah.
and kind of what they're up to, but it's nice to get more of a full picture of kind of that process and that journey. So
Yeah.
yeah, so thank you for
Thank
being
you
willing to
for
share
it.
your time and yeah, coming to open up with us. And I would love to let people know where they can connect with you, whether they're interested in Skool Dance or
Yeah.
just, you know, maybe catching up if they are a fellow alum or something like that.
Yeah. You can find me on Instagram at Lauren Ashley with two E's and then Messina, just like my name is on, I guess people will see it on here, Lauren Messina. Lauren Ashley Messina on Instagram. And I'm pretty active there. I'll respond to messages and stuff. And then there's also a link on there to join Skool Dance, which is a free community for anybody. You can also find it at Skool. It's school with a K though. So skool.com/dance.
Thank you so much, Lauren. This has been so fun. Such a joy just to get to see you again and get to hear from you. So thank you again.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been fun.
Thank you all so much for listening to the Creative Impact Podcast. The music for the show was produced by Michael Cash. Until next time, remember that you were designed to create. You were made to inspire. Continue living with purpose and making an impact. I'll see you next time, friends.